Hi, I'm Panda Hershey with Your Full Expression. Welcome to the October 5th Coffee and Charts call, where we talk about being open to one-on-one conversation and connection for the next 2 weeks. And if it feels like you're ready to get going on some major project or effort in your life, it is that time. But you're going to need to be patient because for the next 2 weeks, it's going to feel like you're just getting into it, and it will take that much time to really feel like you're making some progress. So be patient. Mercury just ended its retrograde motion on Sunday. So from now until October 16th and beyond, it's time to have those conversations with our relationships to kind of close out any outstanding questions and figure out together how you're going to take it forward or even whether you're going to take it forward. But this is the time. And from October 17th to the 19th, especially pay attention to how conversations those days may bring you the details that you really need and really care about for your projects and other things in your life. As always, we'll watch the movement of the planets and I point out some key days to pay attention to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. So it is the 5th of October, and as I was just mentioning just a couple minutes ago before I started recording, this feels like such a long Mercury retrograde, but it's the same amount of time as all the others. And I think part of it is that what we just mentioned about everything being in retrograde recently, and except Mars and Venus, that there's this deeper energy of trying to get things going, but everything feels like it's very much at a surface level and not actually making real progress with all the things that we're feeling we want to get done. And as Pluto, we'll see, will start to move forward, and then Saturn, and then more will start to feel that. And I don't think it might even start to feel like, you remember back in April before that Mercury retrograde, every single thing was moving forward and it felt so intensely busy. We didn't know how we were keeping up. It will kind of get back there, I think. And in a lot of ways, especially if you've been here since the very, very beginning, we'll kind of have come full circle in so many ways, which I think is cool to think back to how much we've actually done this year, which has been a ton. So, any questions or comments on what is happening in your lives or anything like that? The email's helpful. Have connecting with people, has that shown up for people as something to do? Threads to pull on? Like, my big thing has been for the last little bit and continuing for the next 2 weeks is, if anyone wants to talk to you, say yes and just find a way to make it happen, because you just don't know what's there for you, for both of you. Frankly, it's for both of you. It's not just you. And so be wide open to those opportunities and possibilities. So anything else? I noticed, by the way, that Elon Musk is trying to get back into that whole Twitter thing. And funny enough, when he first put his bid out, or when we first heard about it and it was trying to go through, was when Pluto was stationing retrograde. So it's like he lost his momentum, and that would, and now that Pluto is going to be moving forward, maybe we'll see this move through, but we'll see. Okay, so let's take a look at where we are at today, October 5th. We've got Pluto still in retrograde, Mars here in its portal that started at 8 degrees of Gemini, and it will get to 25.5. So it's getting pretty darn close. And Mercury, just a couple days ago, started moving forward. So it's at 25 degrees now, and it's stationed retrograde at 24 degrees. So it's just barely starting to move forward. So if the weekend was a little tough in terms of like trying to get your brain together to actually move something forward, I had an impossible time. Then it may finally feel like, okay, I'm being able to pull it together and say what I need to say, and maybe the brain fog lifts for a bit, or at least that's how I'm experiencing it. And so let's take a look. On the 6th, remember that Venus has been moving through this Mercury retrograde portal, which was opposite the Jupiter portal, exactly opposite. And so the invitation, the opening, the receiving of relationships is kind of why I have offered to people, say yes to whatever's being offered to you and see what happens. And that's, until basically tomorrow. And receiving them is one thing, and then you can set up the talking for later, but just be open to what comes in. In 3 days, Pluto stations direct at 26 degrees of Capricorn. So the whole time it's moved, this entire year has been from this little spot here to 28.5 degrees. So we've barely noticed anything, but it's been moving backwards since April or late April, and now it will start to move forward. And so for the last 2 weeks, it has felt very stationary, even though, it barely moves from our perspective. And it will take another 2 weeks to finally feel like you're getting it going to start moving forward. And we'll talk about this more later for sure. On the 9th, Sunday, Mercury finally hits the place that is opposite the end of the start of the Jupiter portal. So this is where you get to follow up on those connections. So it will move across through to 9 degrees Libra. And so any person that you were able to receive or say, yep, I'll get in touch with you later, this is a great time to set up those conversations. And you'll see it tick through. On the 16th, in a week, no, it's a little less than a week. It will be at the end of that portal. And then, I didn't finish this. Oh my goodness. I know what happened. The 17th, I did on the 18th. From the 17th to the 19th, one of the things that I wanted to point out is that look at how Venus kind of caught up to the sun. Remember, it has kind of an inside track around the sun compared to us. And so it gets to move, it moves a little bit faster. And so it is catching up to the sun at around 24 to 25 degrees of Libra. And Mars will be at 24 to 25 degrees of Gemini. And if you're a musician at all, imagine hitting the same note in each set of octaves across a keyboard, and the resonance of and the strength of that sound of the same note being hit. That's what happens when a lot of things are at the same degree. And so I think that will be an interesting day to pay attention to, that there will be connections made and ideas that come from those connections. So a great day for conversations, a great series of days, frankly, from the 17th to the 19th to get information that you may need for that relationship. And then on the 19th, we meet again. Let's go back and in terms of what to look for, I think one of the most interesting things is to see how Mercury starts to move forward and then Venus is catching up to the sun. So the space between the pink and the yellow will decrease, and Venus actually crosses over just after we meet again. So here we go. Isn't that kind of cool? And then Venus, when it'll be ahead of the sun for a little while, and it's almost like it opens up opportunities. And I always think that's such a lovely energy to have, receiving as kind of the lead in our lives rather than the pushing hard. So here we are in the final phase of the whole portal for Mercury, that last bit of time where it's going forward. It's time to have any of those conversations that began back in August and in September, where there was some work that you had to do, probably related to relationships, friends, partners, clients, teammates, what have you. And you've learned something during this time. Did I mention family members? Well, I've been learning a lot there, and what we need to do in those relationships. And especially during this next, hopefully for the last 5 days, next 2 days, what new connections possibly are being offered. Notice who you are appreciating and enjoying, who appreciates the connection you have with them, and keep working with that. And if you're deciding if you really need to be in connection with someone, this is a good way to think about that. How much effort did they put in? Do you want to give them another chance to step up? This is the time to have those conversations. So that connection between the Mercury retrograde we're just finishing and our growth, how we're being noticed, are exactly opposite each other. So our relationships, at least this year, are really kind of grounding us for our growth so that we can get out there in the world and do something. And so one of the things, at least, that's shown up for me is who acknowledges, appreciates, or sees the potential I have to offer, especially over the last week. I was introduced to a friend of a friend last Monday. And in that conversation, it became clear that what has been rising up for me in the work I do is exactly something that she's been looking for. And we've had a couple conversations, and it's like this new area of growth for me is possible because I just said, okay, I'll give it a try. I really don't exactly know how to do this. I haven't worked in this kind of situation, but she's willing to work with me, and we'll continue to grow this, and I get to see where it goes. So that kind of thing, I hope, has been showing up for you. And the only way you'll know is by saying yes to those conversations. The Mars portal continues until the end of October. So we're getting close, but it is going to be starting to feel like it's slowing down. And what does that mean? It could feel like, oh my God, I've really got to be digging into these details, but I feel like I'm just not making any progress. Or it could feel like someone's really putting a block on my progress to get some ideas done, get my words out, put my ideas forward. So just be aware of that. Have a good place to vent when you're feeling that. And a good way to know where that is look where Gemini is in your chart. It's good for me to vent on my own, to write it out and put it on paper versus like spewing it out to the world. So that's just me, but go look for yourself where you need to do that, and just be aware of that. On October 18th, 19th, I'll say 17th to the 19th, again, one-on-one connections that may awaken you to details or ideas that are important, hopefully in some positive way. We'll figure out maybe a good day for meetings, and arranging like those days with that in mind. Like, we're going to really get some stuff done here. As I mentioned, in just a few days on Saturday, Pluto, the Pluto retrograde ends and it starts moving forward or direct. And so it's going to be like time to get this show on the road, but it will take a couple weeks for us to see that and feel that. So how do we get ready for that? Well, if you have any notes at all from what you were doing from January to April and all the things you got done then, you've taken the time from May until now to experience a few things, learn a few things about yourself, about others, and what new knowledge have you got that you can apply? You know, who are your allies, especially right now, because you're going to be pulling them in to help you keep moving forward and get this progress going. And think about small, medium, large steps toward making that progress. A small step is, okay, I'll pick up the phone and talk to this person. Medium, a whole range there. Large steps, I'm going to get this whole project done. I'm going to get my website finished. I'm going to launch another program. Like, for me, that's what that feels like. But a small step, just, you know what? Okay, I'll just keep having conversations and see what happens. And so just thinking about these whole 2 weeks, it's time to get going. It's time, halftime is about over. It is time to get back out on the field, you know, kind of doing your last minute things of putting on your pads. If I always think of football, I don't know why. And you know, getting back out there, and through connection, we are going to be diving wholeheartedly into the details. And it is through connection that we will find those details. So as the ideas become more fully formed, as Mars continues to the point where it's going to retrograde, it will be very tiring. And so just keep in mind, you won't be able to follow every lead at this point. You know, if you kept track of some of the ideas that have come, kind of think about, how am I going to pick and choose now? And I can pick up those threads later. It will be okay to let some things go and say, okay, that's for January, say, and these are the things that are most important, most urgent now. So back on Sunday, Mercury stationed direct here. So it's moving forward for the next 2 weeks across from that Jupiter portal in your life. So keep talking. Back on September 28th, Venus moved through this area, bringing in hopefully affirmation that you were doing the right things, as well as connections in some way. And so today, tomorrow, even the next day, just receive those and see how they're part of your growth. On the 8th, Saturday, Pluto starts moving direct, but it's going to take a couple weeks to really feel that energy get going. So just kind of just review what you did and be thinking about what you want to get done. And then finally, kind of this last pass through here, where Mercury one more time, third time across from the Jupiter portal, Talk to as many people as you can. Follow up on any referrals because you just don't know what can come from that. And finally, I'm going to say from October 17th to the 19th, where Venus and the Sun were at 24 to 25 degrees Libra, and Venus is crossing over, bringing in some connection in some way. And you're actually like, someone may give you a call and say, hey, you need to talk to this person, and bam, like it's set up and you're doing it. And in that connection, there are some deep ideas or details that you're going to need, that you're going to really care about. And so just be open to what that is. I'm sorry, I'm listening to some crows like hop across my skylights here. It's very funny. So tips for thriving. As the Mercury retrograde portal ends, follow up on any outstanding questions regarding your relationships. If someone asked you, I need you to do this thing for me, it's time to say, okay, what are you willing to do? You don't have to have the details, but I'm in kind of conversation or not. Be open to any new connections. October 17th to the 19th, be prepared for these one-to-one interactions that may generate ideas to put your heart into. And finally, this is going to take a little more time, but you'll be starting to apply all of those tools and wisdom to finish up the work that you did from January to April. You'll be taking it deeper. You'll be, it's like a second chance to really get the project done. So use these next 2 weeks to get ready, and then it will start to get, I think, very busy. And then finally, I have a few dates for Mars retrograde workshops. If you're interested to write your questions about what you're putting your heart into in terms of ideas and what you're thinking about. I'm hearing from so many people, I feel like I'm supposed to be writing a book. Yes, then this is the perfect time. And you have until March 15th to do it. Like, it doesn't have to be done overnight or by Christmas vacation. Nope. Take until mid-March. So to dig into this, I'm offering the same workshops. So I am going to stop my share and see if there are any questions or comments. You know, I've got to learn how to like ask the right questions. I am always here. Appreciate you all so much. And if you guys have questions afterward, or actually questions that you'd want me to answer on the next call, always shoot them to me and I can do them. And even if you're not on the call, at least the answer would be there. So good luck. Reach out, receive. It's all there for you. And have a great day. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope you feel prepared to move through these next 2 weeks and can use this time to explore how one-to-one connections and conversations are key to how you will make it through. You may even get some new ones, so just be open to receiving them. And if you're interested in attending any of my Mars retrograde workshops, the dates are listed below in the description and signups will be available soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.